He thought she forgot, until she did this. Jacob sat at the kitchen table, flipping through a photo album. The pages were worn, the corners of the photos curling, but each image told a story. His wife, Emily, used to call it their treasure chest of memories. Now it was all he had left of the woman he fell in love with. Emily had been diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's 3 years ago. At first, it was small things, forgetting where she left her keys or mixing up dates, but the disease progressed quickly. Today, Jacob was a stranger to her more often than not. Jacob smiled at a particular photo, the two of them at a park picnic on their first anniversary. That day, Emily had surprised him with a hand-painted card. On it, she'd written, "No matter how many years go by, I'll always remember this day." He closed the album, his chest tightening. "Not anymore," he whispered. Emily sat across from him, her face calm but distant. She was working on a puzzle, though she didn't seem to know what the picture was supposed to be. "Do you remember what today is?" Jacob asked gently, knowing the answer. She looked up, her eyes searching his face. "Should I?" she asked, tilting her head. Jacob forced a smile. "It's okay. It's not important." He got up, excusing himself to the kitchen to make tea, wiping a tear as it slipped down his cheek. Hours passed, and Jacob eventually fell asleep in his armchair. Emily sat quietly beside him, staring at the blank screen after the TV had turned itself off. When Jacob woke up, the room was dark, except for the faint glow of a lamp in the corner. Emily wasn't in her chair. He found her in their bedroom, digging through an old wooden drawer. Papers and trinkets were scattered across the bed. "Emily, what are you doing?" he asked, stepping closer. She turned to him, holding a small envelope. Her hands trembled as she passed it to him. "This," she said softly. "I've been saving it." Jacob opened the envelope, his breath catching as he pulled out a hand-painted card. The colors were faded, but he recognized it immediately, the same card she had given him on their first anniversary. Inside, the message was different. "When I start to forget, remind me of us. And if I forget everything, I hope this will remind you of how much I loved you." Tears welled in Jacob's eyes. "Emily, you remembered?" She shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. "I didn't remember, but I knew I wouldn't. That's why I hid this, for you to find." Jacob pulled her into a hug, his tears soaking into her shoulder. She didn't fully understand why he was crying, but she let him hold her. As they stood by the window, watching the streetlights flicker on, Jacob whispered, "Even when you forget, I'll remember for both of us." Emily leaned her head against his chest, her voice soft and unsure. "I don't know who you are, but you feel like home." And in that moment, Jacob realized love was bigger than memory. Even when she forgot, her love for him had found a way to stay.